If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
You talk about greatness. Do you ever get tired of watching LeBron's greatness? Did you ever get tired of watching Michael Jordan's greatness?
No.
Like, that should be celebrated, right? The fact that Tom Brady at 44 years old, with 7 Super Bowls, led the league in passing yards, touchdowns, basically putting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even with all the stuff that transpired at the end of the year, putting that team on his back.
He does so as the most accomplished quarterback in the history of the sport. 7 championships, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 league MVPs. He's the all-time leader in essentially every passing category that matters. And so this, of course, is the sort of news that transcends football. If there were a Mount Rushmore of American sports, his face would belong on it.
That's what happens when you have more Super Bowl wins than any NFL franchise, and you played at an advanced age, and you've beaten Father Time, and also you've overcome the doubters that felt like you couldn't win it without Bill Belichick.
I know people are talking about numbers and these records and all of the stats and the Super Bowls and you know, for me, it goes so much further beyond that, Joey. And you and I have talked about this. It's the person. And, you know, I'll say this, beyond the competitor, beyond the quarterback, beyond the champion that he is, I'm not sure I'll ever meet another person like Tom Brady in my life. And I don't mean for this to sound like we're at his funeral. It's going to be a celebration, really, of who he has been as a player.
84,000 plus passing yards, 624 touchdowns, a 3 touchdown to 1 interception ratio. He was absolutely phenomenal, and he did it with class, and he closed out his career by going elsewhere, out of the friendly, comfortable confines of Bill Belichick in New England, to show what he was made of himself, the greatest champion we've ever seen in the history of the National Football League.
When I think about him, yeah, there were some unbelievably cool moments with him as the quarterback and some incredible things that we were able to do together with other people. But I just think about the man that he's been. And, you know, when you become an uber celebrity like him, a lot of people hear stories, secondhand, thirdhand, fourthhand, of who the guy is and what he does. And I was blessed, and my family was blessed to be firsthand observants and again, direct recipients of his kindness and his love and his generosity.
As a fellow Michigan Wolverine, I'm really happy to see the progress that he made on and off the field, because go back and look at his combine video. He was a 6th-round pick, and for him to become what you consider the GOAT is truly an amazing feat.
He was the 199th player taken in the 2000 draft. He'll be 45 years old in August.
I want you to take me back to the year 2000. Sitting in the war room, the blue chippers are long gone. It's pick 199. What's the conversation like in that room, and do you think you had one?
Yeah, you know, Joey, it was interesting because we started talking about him in earlier rounds, because as you get to each round, you've got your board stacked in different ways. And as you get further in the draft and you're approaching each pick, you have a group of players that you're talking about. And we were in a situation where when we got to the Patriots, we were $10.5 million over the cap. We had only 43 players or 41 players under contract. And, oh, by the way, there's a 53-man roster, and then you've got to count all of those salaries plus the practice squad players. And we drafted based on best player available and need, but we couldn't even field a football team. If we would have had to line up, we didn't even have enough players to play a game at every starting position, because we had 3 quarterbacks on the roster, and it was Drew Bledsoe, John Freese, and Michael Bishop. So when we got to the 4th round, like, yeah, you know, we have more need here. So we kept kicking the can down the road, and then get to the 6th round, we're kind of all looking at each other, and I think it was Bucko Kilroy. Someone cracked a joke like, hey, has anyone checked to see if this guy's still alive? And, you know, we decided to make the pick. And even though we knew, because Dick Rabine, the late Dick Rabine, who was our quarterback's coach and who had worked Tommy out, really had a good feeling about him. Charlie Weiss felt good about him. Bill, myself, Ernie Adams. There was this, and quite honestly, Bobby Greer, who was there. And there was this collective feeling of people that felt good about him. And when we took him, we were like, okay, we have this guy we can develop. You know, we think he might be able to be a starter. We'll see. And here we are 22 years later. It's really pretty amazing. Really pretty amazing. You know, it's funny. I think about, again, because my head's spinning right now, forgive me for talking so much, but, you know, we were just talking about who he is and how hard he has incredible work ethic and work habits. And, you know, he's one of Tommy's dear friends is a guy by the name of John Falk, who was the equipment manager of Michigan. And Tommy loves to tell this story, how all the young guys, when they would come in, John Falk had all of the rings from all the bowl games and the Big Ten championships in the time that he'd been the equipment guy there. And inevitably, someone would always ask him, you know, hey, John, which ring's your favorite? And he would look back at the person and say, the next one. And that's exactly what Tommy lived for all of his years, not only at Michigan, but certainly in the NFL.
When you play with somebody for 8 years, initially there is a little bit of shock that you're playing with Tom Brady. I mean, look, when I was going into college, he was winning a Super Bowl for the first time. So in 2001, I was in high school, just to kind of show you how young I am and how old he is, and he's still playing. So, you know, again, I think that initially it's a little bit of, okay, that's Tom Brady. Okay. I think the first interaction that we had was 2009. He was coming into the building. I had just got to the team and, you know, only been there about a week, and he walked past me and it was Tom Brady. You're kind of like, whoa, that's Tom Brady. He walked past me and said, hey, Rob, how you doing? I said, whoa, he knows my name. He knew my name. Like, oh my gosh, he knows my name. But then from that point on, I mean, I was blessed with being a captain, so having captain's meetings with Tom. One story that I've told a few times, I'm sitting next to him in captain's meeting, and I said, hey, Tom, that's a really cool watch, man. I like it. He had a awesome tag here. Really cool watch, kind of before an Apple Watch. It was like a computerized, like futuristic watch. I said, that's cool. Do you have anybody that I could, you know, you got a guy that I can call? He looked at me and goes, do I got a guy? Of course I got a guy. So that next week I had a box in my locker and it was that watch. It's the kind of guy that he is, you know, he's humble, he's caring, he's got a huge heart. And you know, it reflects on how he was raised. His parents are just tremendous people, and Tom's one of the best that I've ever been around. So just happy to have spent a lot of time with him, and, you know, happy that he's doing what he wants to do.
When you think of Tom and the player that was, he always talks about his teammates, and that's the legacy he will leave, the people that he affected and the people that affected him. Can you take us behind the curtain and give us an idea of Tom Brady, the man in the locker room, something that we did not get to see?
Well, I don't know if it's just Tom Brady in the locker room. Again, I keep going back to Tom Brady, the person, the human being. And again, there's a lot of people, you know, when you have the level of greatness that he does and that he did, and you have the notoriety, people are always trying to find chinks in the armor, always trying to find something that's wrong. We love in this society to build someone up just to be able to tear him down. And I know over time I've heard people say things that don't know him or have had general proximity to him, but they don't really know. You know, here's what I do know. This is a guy who, in his first couple of years in New England, he was single and he's always looked like Tom Brady. Could have had a different lifestyle, but he was living in a condo with his sisters, right? His sisters, 3 older sisters he had, but he was living with, I think, 2 of them. And he was a good family man. He loves his parents. He loves his sisters. He treats all of them with kindness and respect. And just like he did with other people that were friends and people that he kept close to him. You know, there is this moment, and I'll never forget, when I was with the Falcons, knowing him, and we're getting ready to play them in the Super Bowl. And I had talked to him during the week, and we talked, and we said, hey, I hope to see you real quick before the game on the field. And before the game, he had this routine where he would jog up the sideline, come out, and he would never go to the opponent's sideline. It was just one of his things. And, you know, I saw him, and I wanted to make sure that so I met him at midfield. We talked real quick, and he said, hey, you know, is Mia here? You said Mia was going to be down on the sidelines. This is before the Super Bowl, right? And I go, yeah, she's over there on the sidelines. And he looks at her. He puts his hands on his head like, oh, my gosh, she's so big. And he jogged over to our sidelines to give my daughter, who he's known, you know, since she was born, to give her a hug before the Super Bowl. And that may not sound like a lot to people, but it says so much about who the man is. And if you know him, you know what that meant. You know he's a guy of routine, and he broke routine to go see my baby, and it was pretty cool moment.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day.